Dear MAGA, we have some bad news. No, not that he lost. Not that your little coup attempt failed and its planners and the attackers are going to jail. No, the really bad news is why Trump told you he lost. Why he set it up way before the 2020 election. It wasn't voter fraud, but it was fraud. Trump told you the election was stolen to rip you off, to sucker you, to take your hard-earned money and shovel it into his pockets. He spent it on himself, not to take back the White House. It was the biggest scam in political history. Every dollar you sent him paid to keep his shaky business empire and lavish lifestyle going. It was a sucker's game all along. And you know who the sucker is? It's you.
That kind of stings. The Lincoln Project released that ad, and I think it hit its target because it played on Fox News. And we know who watches Fox News pretty religiously. It's your boy, Donald Trump. Now, by the way, before we get to his response, because you know he had to respond to that, let's point out one thing. One thing about this. It was played in Bedminster, New Jersey, so it could be where he sees it, because that's where he's been staying. Keep that in mind as we go through his response here. But here's a bit of information on how they put it out there. So this new spot, it's geo-targeted to the former president's summer home in Bedminster, New Jersey. It reprises a familiar argument from Lincoln Project that Trump's promulgation of the big lie was his ultimate grift from his cadre of credulous supporters, a capstone to a half century of similar exploitations of gullible marks. That's just Florida politics' way of putting exactly what Lincoln Project said in that ad. You suckers gave all your money to this guy and he pocketed it. Where is the stop the steal? Where is the exposure of all of this corruption? He keeps saying he's got it, but they haven't shown you yet. They've shown you a big middle finger. Okay, so let's go to his response, because he was very upset about how he got called out because he's watching TV, and you probably shouldn't point out that you just saw what they wanted you to see. So this is what he truthed about. The perverts and lowlifes already of the Lincoln Project are back on. Where else? Fox News, because that's where they always go. I thought they ran away to the asylum after their latest catastrophic campaign with charges made against them that were big time sleaze. What does that mean? And me getting many millions more votes in 2020 than I got in 2016. Pause. Why does he always talk about how he got more votes in 20 than he did in 16? You beat yourself from 20 than you did in 16. Good thing you're not running against yourself. Anyway, continue on. He said the Paul Ryan run Fox News has high standards for Trump ads, but not for anyone else. The perverts should not be allowed to false advertise, and Fox News should not allow it to happen. See you all in court. Jackson, is like a million things there. There's like so many things there that he's talking about. First of all, Trump ads, the standards, what does that mean? Like clarity, 4K, editing, lighting. What's the standard you're talking about for a look of an ad? Or are you talking about ass kissing for you?
Well, definitely that. But I also want to point out that the perverts was capitalized. So the T and the P, it's the perverts. So it's like they are a category of people specifically. But Donald Trump, he has an unbelievable amount of negativity swirling around him that actually is making him weaker. It just is. He's still the forerunner in the Republican Party, but that there's a lot of dents that's being put into that.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
I have a question, because we're talking about him being the leader of the party and potentially doing that. I have a running bet with Jank about this, $100 on the line. I don't think he's gonna run. This is continued to extend and push the special master that they want to appoint. It's to extend and push and extend. None of this has to do with actionable policy or anything he wants to do. It's about trying to stop the legal issues he's got coming his way. So yeah, he's the leader of the party, but I'm not.
He still got 2 more years, So that's a good point, and it's looking, reasonable to think there's a bigger chance that he may not, So there's still more that needs to be seen before we can all say that he won't be. But with all these lawsuits that are going against him, and the reality of people like Ron DeSantis, who are clearly the future of the party. It's only a matter of time before he truly becomes the leader of it anyway. And at the end of the day, Donald Trump is just a man. But the bigger thing with Trump and the reality of him is he's one of the biggest scam artists of all time. well documented too. Like it's not like this is in question. He has a long history, even long before he got into politics, of just not paying people. People who would, to the point where he would ruin people. They would have to go bankrupt, go out of business because he didn't pay them. And this is who he is. So ultimately, Donald Trump's just a man, and the walls are closing in on him.
And he's showing it. Man, I can't think of something dumber to do than after we know Lincoln Project says it openly. We're looking to target Donald Trump. We want him to see it. We know he watches Fox and Friends. We know he does this, know he does that. By the way, it was just done locally. So Fox News, who he says he's gonna sue because he's not, doesn't even have control over those local ad buys. They targeted the local market so he could see it, and his ass went for it. Said, "You guys, I saw it. You really angered me, and I'm gonna do something about it." And everyone went,
so predictable. It's predictable. And the reality is, just to close, is that he's in a position to where if people want to screw him, they can. If people want to dig the knives deep, it's really not hard to do at this point. So that's what it is.
He's left it wide open.